Good afternoon, garden fans. You join me in a very, very hot St John's Vicarage garden. I am, quite honestly, absolutely disgusting. I've been working really hard in the garden this morning doing various jobs, but there have been some really exciting developments over the last couple of weeks. The lots of rain that we had the other week and now this beautiful sunny weather has meant that all sorts of things have really started to grow quite a lot. And we've even started harvesting, which is really exciting. The soup kitchen has had some wonderful fresh vegetables over the last few days. So stay tuned as you join me for Garden Diaries episode 9. So here in the garden is what I've been doing this morning partly. We've got lots of herb seedlings that were in tiny little trays and they needed to be separated out a little bit, especially in this hot weather. It's really hard with things in shallow trays to keep them watered enough. So I've spent about an hour separating out lots of different things. We've got lots of parsley, some basil, and some this lovely beautiful purple basil, which I've been having real problems with, partly because the unseen enemy came into the house and ate the first lot of seeds, but also they just seem to be much harder than the more popular green one here, the Genovese basil. So I don't know about that, but we shall see. But lots and lots of parsley and I think a little bit of coriander in here as well. So I'm going to leave them in the shade. They've had water. They're looking a bit sad at the moment because they've just had a bit of a shock. But they should start to perk up. And I need to think of a way to stop unseen enemy getting at them. But if we turn around, here we are. The chard is still going strong. The spinach down here, that's starting to finish, but over at that end I've just put some more spinach seed in, so we'll have the next crop to come along. The leeks in here are doing really well. They're doing much better than the leeks outside the church. And then at the back we've got some beans. These are haricot beans, which came as part of a Christmas present. They were baked beans in a matchbox. I mean, they weren't actual baked beans in a matchbox because a matchbox wouldn't really give you very many baked beans, and it's not very watertight, so I think they'd go everywhere. And you cook baked beans in the can, which is a cool fact. I learnt that from Inside the Factory, which is a great programme, you should watch it. And I don't think you could cook baked beans inside a matchbox. Anyway, I'm digressing. I hope that recording the sound live might stop me from digressing, but turns out it doesn't. Anyhow, so that's the bean element, and you'll see the tomato element in just a moment. So there they are, the the tomatoes that go with the beans. They're sitting there, being tomato-like, and then down here we've got some of the courgettes. These are the Trieste whites, which are, I don't know, they've never been particularly happy. They don't seem to be doing very much. I mean, they've got some flowers on, that's a good sign, but they have also always looked a little bit sickly. Not helped, I think, because two of them early on were dug up by you-know-who, so that was a bit annoying. And then down in this bed, in amongst some beautiful lilies that are just coming through, we've also got potatoes sort of dumped in, the spare ones, so hopefully they will, well, they're looking really good actually. They're growing really big and tall. Swing around here. These need a water. Really struggling to get everything enough water. They had loads last night, but obviously it wasn't enough. But these are the Burpee's golden courgettes, and these are feeling a little bit more ahead in that you can focus. Down there we have got some little courgettes, so that's very exciting. They look golden, so they seem to be living up to their name so far. Bit of mildew on all the leaves, which is also a bit annoying, but I think it's quite common for courgettes to get that. I'm going to swing around here for you to have a quick look at Focus. Focus was obviously emptied the other week, but he's been being filled up again quite a lot, and with this weather he is, well, that's what he is on top. He's roasty toasty. Should we have a look inside? I mean, I'm glad there's no such thing as smell-o-vision, but steaming up the lens. Ha! Yeah, he's like 60 degrees in there. So that's being really, really effective. And then if we come around here, we've got these are our strawberries, which are doing okay. These potatoes here, they're doing okay as well in the big pot. They are super tall. They seem to be doing okay. Again, making sure I get enough water in them. And what's done really well over the last week or so is the corn. Now, it's not quite as high as an elephant's eye, but it is growing quite a lot, which is really exciting. I'm quite excited about the corn. Hopefully children, if we ever have children allowed to come back to church, will really enjoy that. And then you'll notice that this has gone. That was where our new potatoes were, but they are no more. In fact, this is what has happened to the new potatoes. So the new potatoes have been replaced by some more basil. That's turned into like a basil planter, which is good because we like basil. More potatoes, these are looking okay. These are the extra courgettes that I did just to stuff the last seeds in, so they're doing really well actually there. The lettuce has just had a massive haircut. We had some for dinner last night, and we had so much that actually Salt the Radish on Blackstock Road have taken a load this morning to put in their salads, which is quite exciting. Their food miles are like 200 metres, which is quite cool. And then in here we've got all sorts of other salady things. So we've got some rocket at the front, some different types of lettuce. Those are some oriental greens, some what's that? There's coriander at the back, yes, coriander. More rocket in the middle, and some more lettuce things. Hopefully you can see that. It's so bright I can't see my screen, so it's basically salad. Yum. And that's doing quite well. And you'll notice I've got a lovely decorative fishing net, complete with seashells. Because I don't really like using plastic netting, and to buy, I shouldn't be telling you this because this is like my top garden like secret tip I've learned, and to buy non-plastic netting for garden stuff is A, quite expensive, and B, it's really hard to get hold of at the moment because I think the whole world has got into gardening in lockdown. But then I discovered people have decorative fishing nets in their houses, it turns out, and these are made of cotton, and I thought it would be perfect. And it has actually, cross fingers, touch wood, not that I believe in superstition, obviously, it's worked and kept unseen enemy off. So that's been really successful thus far. So here we are in the kale bed. You'll see that I've put a next load of kale in, that went in this morning. It's quite small to be going out, but again, because of the weather, it was just really struggling in its little modules, so I just thought I'd just stick it out, and it should be all right. And then this kale, which has again had a big haircut, again because Salt the Radish took some, but also we used some in the soup on Tuesday and Sunday actually. They had some kale, lovely fresh kale in their soup. And then this here are the beetroots, which I'm also quite pleased with how they've suddenly come on. They looked quite sickly for a long time, but they seem to be doing okay now. Starting to grow nice and big, so quite excited to see what they will look like in a few weeks' time. So here we are out in the front of the church garden, and we're in the carrot bed. Carrots at the front nearest to me where I'm standing are just doing all right really. They're just sort of carrying on being a carrot. Then in the middle we've got the other type of carrot that went in, again not doing as well, I don't think. They need thinning out, I must do that, but they're not really, like a half a row hasn't come up at all, just not come up really in the same way. And then the parsnips, which are supposed to be at the back of that bed, haven't done anything at all, which is a bit of a puzzle because they didn't show any signs of being disturbed by you-know-who, and watered them quite well. Yeah, so I don't know. We need to think about that maybe next year. Shift around, let's go down here. So you'll see here, these are the leeks in this bed, which are so much smaller than the other ones. Again, not sure why. I think it's probably quite exposed out here, actually. I've discovered the wind sort of whips through a bit, and we have had some slightly, oh, there's a bit of grass in the way, go away. Some quite sort of seesawing weather between one thing and another, and the stuff in the garden I think has been sheltered from that to a certain extent. But there's a few out here. They need a good water again, just really struggling to keep stuff watered. So big water tonight, I think. Then around here we've got our runner beans, which are running up and up and up. I think it's really clever how beans just seem to know to twist round a cane. You don't have to do anything, they just do it. But they're starting to flower, which is a good sign. And then also in this bed we've got a pumpkin, which is really interesting. You'll see the squash on the balcony in a moment, and you'll see how big they are. And they were planted at exactly the same time as this pumpkin. So I think it is something to do with how exposed it is out here. So we need to think about that, I think, next year as well. Come over here and you'll notice the big difference in this bed is that the broad beans pretty much have all gone. There's one left, which is because that's got a bean on it that I'm keeping for seed. And also it's turned into a support for the peas, so I need to leave that up. But the rest of the beans have come down, they finished, they were delicious. They were put into a couple of soup kitchen meals, which was really, really nice. And there's also pumpkins in this bed, but you'll see how tiny they are. They just look a bit, oh, hang on, motorbike. Broom, broom. Quite a lot of motorbikes. This is the problem with recording live. Broom, broom again. Anyway, after that little intermission, yeah, so really small in comparison, these. Look at that, it's pathetic. So I need to think that through a bit. But the peas were very successful. So what I'm doing now is just waiting for the plant basically to die off. And as it dies off, all of the peas will dry. So remember, these are soup peas. These are peas that are designed for being dried, and then we can keep them for the winter and use them then. But it's been really, really productive. We've got so many peas just everywhere, and it's actually still flowering. This one is still flowering here, and this one over here with its beautiful purple flowers, that's still flowering. So just going to wait for that to die off, and then you can see here the monster broad bean. I mean, it's huge. Look at that. Massive. So that's going to stay on the plant until it's dried off, and we can use it to do some seeds for next year. And then over here in this bed, lovely hops, but also the potatoes. These are the second early potatoes, which will be ready probably not too long. They've certainly long flowered. I'll check with my expert, but hopefully they will be ready soon. More potatoes, yum yum yum. So here we are with the only voiceover of this video, with the squash out on the balcony who are looking really tired. No, not tired, the other thing. Thirsty, looking very thirsty, although they've had lots of water since because of the rain, and I actually remember to water them. And they're looking really good. This is probably the weakest one, but it's got one there that's set, which is very good. And it's producing quite a lot of female flowers, which is what we want. That's some beautiful nasturtiums that we grew, because they will attract the bees, and then the bees can do some of the pollinating. So we've got more in there. So you can see the female flowers with like the blobs at the bottom, and the male flowers, which are the ones without the blobs at the bottom. And then, yeah, there's some beans in there as well, but I think they've been a bit swallowed by the massive triffid-like squash. But one's set there, it got stuck in the railings for a bit, which has gone a bit wonky. And a little baby one there, very cute. And one down there. And yeah, they're basically everywhere. It seems to be doing really well. I've been feeding them lots, which is what they need, and growing everywhere. So that brings us to the end of Garden Diaries. More stuff to come soon, lots happening in the garden, so don't forget to tune in again. Big squash.